Hi everyone. Hope that all of you are coping well with your assignments and other tasks. Today, we will continue our lecture on the topic listening in formal or academic contexts. By the end of this video, you should be able to, firstly, explain the different purposes of listening in academic setting. Secondly, determine the logical sequence of ideas in a complete discourse. Thirdly, describe specific language cues to understand facts and opinions. Fourthly, identify meaning from intonation through activities provided. And fifth, recall with comprehension to complete discourse rather than from isolated words. We will discuss the above learning one by one. To start with, we will have a look at the different purposes of listening in an academic setting. The different purposes of listening in an academic setting. In academic context, we listen for different purposes. One purpose is to decode or recognize what the speaker says. Without decoding, then we may not comprehend. We must first recognize what is said to belong to a particular language. Then, we listen to comprehend. For example, to understand the main points said and the supporting points mentioned. Finally, the purpose of listening in academic setting is to take down notes quickly for future reference. Having understood the purposes of listening in academic setting, we will now move on to how to listen for sequence in ideas. In lectures and speeches, it is very important to look out for the sequence of ideas. You must be able to recognize the cues for sequencing. Some of the examples of sequencing cues are the following words, which are called logical connectors or sequencing connectors. For example, first, first of all, firstly, next, after that, then, finally, and therefore. Can you come up with other examples? We move on to the next point, which is describing specific language cues to understand facts and opinions. In academic listening, this skill is very crucial. How do we do this? It is obviously not an easy task to do this. However, you must know that a fact is always something that cannot be disputed and can be verified. Facts can take the form of data, reports, and actual happenings. On the other hand, opinions are not always true. They can be disputed. Often, they are prejudiced. Opinions are usually based on what a person believes or feels about something. Can you come up with a few statements to denote facts and opinion? I'm sure you can. All right, everybody. The next point is about identifying meaning from intonation. Before that, what do you think intonation is? Intonation is the use of melody and the rise and fall of the voice when we speak. Intonations expresses emotions, attitudes, and reactions. It is important to observe the intonation of speakers. Basically, there are two intonation patterns in speech. The first one is the falling intonation, and the second, the rising intonation. Falling intonation is used in positive statements and declarative sentences. Look at the following examples. Why? Where? Where is it? Rising intonation, on the other hand, usually accompanies statement expressing doubt or yes/no questions. The rising tone denotes uncertainty and sometimes denotes politeness. Let us look at some examples of rising intonation now. Is the train on time? Is the phone working? 10 minutes late? What did he say? I hope you can now differentiate falling and rising intonation. Perhaps you would want to look up for more examples on your own. Now, we will look at the last heading in our topic, which is comprehension from complete discourse rather than from isolated words. In academic listening, very often you have to listen to and understand long stretches of discourse. In doing this, you must be able to make notes so that you can recall what you have listened to. You have to learn the skill of omitting what is not important and only jot down the main ideas. You must also have the skills of using symbols and write using short forms or what we call abbreviations. Alright everyone, we have come to the end of our lecture for today. I hope you have benefited with this session. Till we meet again, take care always and thank you.